Hello my loves! My name is Freya and welcome to my channel. Today I will be explaining how you can simplify your life. Now we all know having a cluttered life is never fun. A cluttered life may leave you feeling unpleasant, dissatisfied, and honestly it's just never really nice to have a cluttered life. But once you start having a more simplistic lifestyle, you will feel like you are regaining control over your life again. We can simplify our life in a number of ways and I will tell you how. Now I do want to mention that these tips may not work for everyone, and if you have a more serious problem, please just go to a professional because this will improve your life. But if there are deeper problems, then really just get some help from a professional. So grab yourself a drink, get comfy, and let's begin. The first way to simplify your life is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is basically being open to the present and being open to the now. You will not be worrying about everything you've done in the past or everything you still need to do in the future, but you will just be here right now. It allows you to realize that you are already good enough at this moment as you are right now. You notice that you don't need to be different because you're already perfect just as you are. This is very important to understand because it's in human nature to always want more and more and more. Whether we're talking about material objects such as cars, jewelry, technical devices, or maybe about a certain position career-wise, or maybe even when talking about relationships, to have the most cute relationships or to have the most beautiful, talented, smart girlfriend, boyfriend, or everything that's been between those two. This society wants us to always strive for more and better, and that's not really wrong in a sense, but it's also not really good because it doesn't allow you to just be content and just be happy where you are at this moment. This works because of the thought that, oh, once I will get there, I will be happy. It's like, oh, once I am CEO of my company, I will be happy. Once I have 2 children and a dog and 2 chickens, I will be happy. The power of mindfulness is surrendering to the moment and realizing that you are already enough just as you are. You don't need to be anywhere else because you are already where you are needed, here, because you can't change the past, you can change your future in a sense, but by worrying about your future, you're not gonna change it. Mindfulness can teach you to ask yourself in every situation, does this bring me joy or is this just complicating my life? If you ask yourself that question a lot, you will not be doing all the things you don't want, and so you will be left with the things you do want. And that will make your life a lot simpler. I'm not saying that you should go out of the way for everything because you're just not in the mood. On the contrary, if you're very passionate about something, you should definitely just be doing that. Now the next way to simplify your life is by practicing meditation. And meditation is basically observing your thoughts without judging, denying that they're there, or going with them. There's a really good analogy for it, which is that you are the sky and the clouds are your thoughts. You should just let the clouds pass and just let them flow as they please, and you shouldn't just jump on the cloud and go with it because then you're just lost in a thought. Sometimes there will be more clouds, sometimes there will be no clouds, sometimes there will be a thunder, and that's okay. The strength of meditation is that it allows you to be able to handle stress a lot better. It also helps you relax, and it helps you notice your inner dialogue, and this is the way you talk to yourself, like whether you're being hard on yourself or more easy. It's really good to know how you're talking to yourself, and if you notice that you have a rather negative inner dialogue, then it's not like, oh wow, I have a bad inner dialogue. It's more like, oh, well, at least I know, and now I can work on changing it. You can start meditation right now. You don't want to burn yourself out just at the start, because if you want to go an hour each day, that's really a lot just starting out. So just start by 2 minutes every day in the morning so you don't have any excuses to just not do it. And every week that passes that you do meditate, add a minute until you have an amount that seems pleasant to you. Now, I personally meditate 20 minutes a day, 15 minutes in the morning to start my day off well, and 5 minutes at night to lay my thoughts at peace. The third way to simplify your life is by cleaning up, and this goes with the idea that clear space equals clear mind. The idea is that everything you need to clean up will be added to your invisible to-do list. Now, immediately cleaning up your whole living space may not be the best idea, because you will immediately throw this new good habit out of the window. So what I would suggest is setting a timer for 10 to 20 minutes and cleaning for that amount. It's an amount that seems doable, but you're also able to get things done. In my opinion, cleaning up is also a way of self-care, because it's like saying, oh, I'm worthy of living in a clean space, and I'm worthy of having an environment that's full of the things I love. And that's the way I like to look at it, especially when I'm not in the mood of cleaning. I say to myself, well, you should do it because this is your space, you gotta take care of it, and then I just do it. This brings me to my next point, which is minimalism. And minimalism is basically minimizing the amount of stuff you have. And no, it's not in a way of where you only have 50 items, because that's just unrealistic in this society. And I know there are people who do this with this amount, but that's not the point here. The point is getting rid of the things you don't love or need in order to be left with the things you do want, so that you can appreciate them more. Minimalism allows you to get rid of the things you no longer need. See it as that you were previously living a certain chapter and certain items were attached to it, and now you've grown, you've progressed, and you've changed, and you want to close off the chapter. But by keeping the things that are attached to the chapter, the past will keep haunting you in a way. Now, the things that are left from this chapter may just be cluttering up your living space, which is unnecessary. When you actually get rid of all the items from your past, you're freeing your mind of all the clutter that was attached to these items. These items would keep reminding you of everything you've done in the past and will eventually start to haunt you. And I just want to say that that's not needed. You're here right now, and you don't need to be reminded of everything you've done in the past. Really, it's just not needed at all. This will allow you to reflect and to truly see how far you've come, because I promise you, once you start seeing where you were at a certain time, you will really be just blown away by how much you've progressed and changed. Also, minimalism can be quite confronting, because you can come across letters or pictures of anything you've done in the past, so it is quite confronting, but I really think that it's worth all of it. All the effort that goes into it is really rewarded, because you're letting go and reflecting, and it's really a very efficient way of letting the past go. This way you're allowing the past to be the past, and you're closing off that previously lived chapter. Without the items cluttering up your space and thus your mind, your life will feel a lot lighter without them. It will also give you an idea on what you want in life, because by getting rid of the items that were from the past or that you no longer love or need, you are left with the things you do love and want. And if the items you're left with are all about the same subject, then that's a clear instruction that you should maybe more get into that habit of doing something like that again or more. And this will give you an idea of what you actually want in life. Now, I do want to mention that please don't just throw the things away if they're in a good state. You can put them for sale, give them to a thrift shop, give them to a friend, donate them, or anything else that seems appropriate. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is routines. Routines are very important because they give a certain structure to your life that will make your life feel a lot simpler, something you can fall back onto. And if you do the same things over and over again over a longer period of time, your brain will actually pick these signs up and be alerted that, oh, for example, we're going to bed. And that's really important, because if you do the same night routine every time you go to bed, you will not be as tired in the morning as you usually are. And honestly, we gotta love that. Now this makes it very important that you create a routine that you really like and that you really want to do every single time you're doing it. You want to create it so that you find it satisfying, that you find worth in doing it, and that it's really adapted to your lifestyle. You want to create a routine that really makes you happy. If your goal is to be cheerful in the morning, you want to do things that make you cheerful. And for example, in the morning you could do journaling, you could read, write, meditate, do some art, whether that's painting or drawing or anything creative, or do some sports, go for a run, do some yoga, anything that cheers your body up for the morning. To end your day, you can make a very calming night routine because you want to be able to fall asleep. You could read, meditate again, but don't do this before sleep because you will be already tired a bit, and so you won't fall asleep as easily and the meditation won't be as effective as it could be. You could take a bath, you could listen to some music you find calming. Anything that really calms you down is something very good to do at night. Now my next point is nature time, and it's very important because in this society, in this time, we often lose connection with nature too much. Having fresh air each day is very important. It's just as important as drinking water, just as having some sun. Having sun is a lot more important than people realize. In nature, we can bring our thoughts at peace and take a break from this constant fast-paced life we're all to live by society, and we can really slow down a bit, and that's really needed in this time. Whether your nature time is in the park, in the woods, in your garden, or just by the houseplant on the windowsill, it really doesn't matter. It's just that you get your nature time. We're reconnecting and disconnecting at the same time. Disconnecting from this fast lifestyle we're supposed to live and reconnecting to the earth beneath us. In nature, you're not worrying about mundane life, and it's really important to be able to take breaks from that, especially in this society. I find it a lot harder to not be mindful in nature as it is inside. Inside it is, at least for me, a lot easier to get wrapped up in my head and to not have that connection between my head and my heart, and be more focused on my head and not listen to my heart enough. At least that's my opinion. And in nature it's a lot easier to find that connection again, or to sense an imbalance and fix it. And that way, being in nature is also a really good way of being mindful because you're really surrendering to the moment. And meditating in nature is really cool too, of course. Now I wanted to talk about planning your life. Whether you're planning it the day ahead, planning your meals for the week, or planning your activities in the coming month, planning will give you an idea of what you're going to do in the future, and so you don't need to worry about your future. Knowing what you want to do in the future is key to not be thrown off your path by life. Once you know what you're going to do in the future, a weight will fall off your shoulders because you know what you're going to do. And it's really as easy as that. Just like routines, planning your life will give you structure that you really need in your life. What's important about planning is that you don't get into the details too much, but that you also know precisely enough what you will be doing. It's also important that you plan enough time for yourself so that you can organize your thoughts again and again spend the time in nature. With a relaxed mind, your life will become a lot simpler. Not having to worry about what you're going to do is such a privilege, and that's exactly what you want to do. Give yourself the privilege to plan your future in alignment with your goals so that you know what's coming for you, and so that you know you always have a plan so that your mind can be at ease. My last point is taking breaks from social media. Social media can influence us in a number of ways. By now, it probably seems like a cliche, but that's just because it is so important. If you minimize the amount of time you spend on social media, you will stop comparing yourself to others as frequently. Your self-image will probably go up because you are more focused on yourself rather than the highlights of someone else's put-in-scene life. I know some people may now be like, but Freya, I have absolutely no idea how I can start using social media less frequently. Well, I have some suggestions for that. And you can do all of these or just one or two, but as long as you use it less, that's already a good start. So you could take one day in a week where you just don't use screens at all and just spend time reading or playing cardboard games. 2, you could not go on your phone 3 hours after you've woken up so your morning is free of new information. 3, you can put your phone in flight mode at a certain time at night so that you don't use it anyways. This is also good to combine with number 2, where you don't use your phone 3 hours after you've woken up, because when you put your phone at flight mode, let's say at 8 p.m. and then you turn it on at 9, then you've had a big chunk of your day and night that you don't use your phone, which is obviously very good. So 4, you can delete the apps on your phone you're overusing so that you actually need to go on another device to use those apps. Make sure that the other device isn't as easy to go to as your phone, otherwise the point wouldn't be there. You want to make it harder for you to use the apps and not to just go on another device. 5, you can set timers when using the apps so that you can actually notice how much time you spent there. This will probably be shocking to some, but the shock factor will motivate you even more to decrease the amount of time spent on social media. Now, to wrap it all up, practice mindfulness to be open to the now, practice meditation to organize your thoughts, clean up your space because a clear space equals a clear mind, minimalize the amount of stuff you have to let the past go and find out what you want in life. Find routines you like to give a pleasant structure to your life. Spend more time in nature to disconnect and reconnect. Plan the days ahead so you don't have to worry about the future. And finally, take breaks from social media so you can stop comparing yourself and making you doubt yourself. Well, I hope this helped and that you learned something new. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know and write in the comments what your favorite idea was or how you will implement these tips into your life. Subscribe so you hopefully know when I upload, and follow me on Instagram for additional updates. Have a nice day and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye loves.